And it's a two for Friday. It's Merry Christmas. I've got Julie Keel on here, and I bet we're going to be talking about housing.
Yep. How'd you know? I have enjoy talking to folks about housing and appreciate the forum to talk about housing, and I just look for a date and I think I haven't talked about housing for a while. Look, I can go talk to Michelle Russell.
We're going to talk about cool stuff.
And you don't have to say no, right?
I don't say no.
I just book, and here we are. So
you got the magic way.
Yeah, I really appreciate though you having me on the show. We try at HousingHub, we try to do lots of different avenues of communication about what we're doing, and so I think this is really helpful to be here and chat. Here for a couple of reasons. One, we have a house under construction that you came by the site, we broke ground on, and it's actually framed. Roofers are finishing up. It came up out of the ground really fast. I should say that's just my perspective, but it feels really fast. I'm proud of the progress of that. And we've listed an estimated cost with it. We've been before in trying to promote the house based on what a family income would be that could afford.
That's right. We've been talking about that. Right.
And so we put $200,000 as a price tag on it, and thinking about also, it's hard. It's just hard. It's complicated to talk about all of it. That's why we have used income as maybe a benchmark. We'll use a sales price as a benchmark. There's also your mortgage product that's a benchmark as well. And so it's still that kind of household income we think is 60 to 70,000. We know the biggest sector of our workforce on average makes in the 80s. Okay. So we think we're hitting a
sweet spot.
This truly is in our workforce kind of thing, where you might have a teacher full-time and a part-time something else, kind of like my house.
Sure.
So that's on Colony Road. You can drive by and see it.
It's a cute location too.
Listen, it's so 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, 1,300 square feet roughly on 3 acres. And if you look on the market, it's a deal.
It is.
And that's the point. We're trying to make housing more affordable for our workers. It's part experiment. Can we do it? Can the market bear it? It's also 100% heart. Our heart is in this. This is our mission. I have a core belief that housing is key to human flourishing. If we are going to grow, get somewhere, be healthier, be more fulfilled in life, all the other things that come from that deal with well-being and family and children and mental health. Just go down the list. All that is rooted in housing, or housing situation.
You feel safe. I had a guest on yesterday, Chelsea, talking about transitional.
Yes. Yep.
And feeling safe at home changes your world. And how simple is that?
It is the leverage point. It's proven in data. It's investing in housing. You are the benefits you get on the other side, where it feels expensive. The benefits you get on the other side so far outweigh that investment there. But it's an expensive world to be in.
It is.
And so we want to sell this to someone who lives.
So we don't have we do not have
a buyer.
A buyer yet.
Yep. We had someone. Their situation changed. We tried to be understanding of that.
Sure.
Last thing we want to do is sell something to someone that they can't afford.
Correct.
But we're looking for a buyer. We think that we'll be ready late spring, early summer. Close in the summertime. That just that depends on a variety of issues, including weather, and I can't control that.
What would be? So we talked about who would be that person? Who would be that family?
I would think they would have some young folks, or maybe multi-generation, since it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath situation. It's a bigger house, so you need a little bit more in your income to maintain the house right after we sell it. By the way, we do all of that training for free. post-purchase counseling is what they
Oh,
call it, where
okay.
you, how does your spending plan, your monthly spending plan shift once you're making a mortgage payment, and also you want to make sure you have enough money to buy air conditioning filters, or
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure you know what you need to do to, keep your pipes from freezing,
Mm-hmm.
or, clean out your gutters so your roof doesn't
Huh.
leak, So we're trying to be helpful on the total cost of what it would run the house as well, and doing some training and maintenance, awareness and all that sort of stuff. But ideally, somebody that lives here, somebody that's in our workforce,
That would be
somebody that's
fantastic.
had a really hard time getting into housing. As a first time home buyer, there are also some pretty good incentives out there
Okay.
that are attached. If you qualify for a mortgage product that might have down payment assistance
Ooh.
because you're a first time home buyer. And so that's the other thing that we work the side of, for paying attention to construction costs. You can only, a 2x4 costs what a 2x4 costs,
Yeah.
right? Construction costs, we're paying attention to we call it, the world calls it overhead cost. I call it critical infrastructure, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
did not have a general contractor, the house might not be constructed well. So we got
I
to
have
pay a
experienced
person.
that. Yeah,
Yes,
I was
pay
in
a
real estate
yeah,
at some
yeah,
point.
yep. And so we are looking at those costs, but I also really understand now that our area has been disconnected from some mortgage products that
Yeah.
are really good for some of our residents. There is good access. I'm not going to say that there's not. It does exist, but also there are other products, and they come and go,
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of our connection with other nonprofit housing developers in Appalachia
Mm-hmm.
that we're able to maybe do some more creative financing, kind of thing. So in the way you inquire online is the best way to do
Okay.
it. Our phone number's listed on our website. There's a form you can fill out, and then I call you back within 2 working days.
Well, we talked
So,
about down payment. What kind of thing?
mhm.
What were we looking at?
So it's on the mortgage
Mm-hmm.
product, but I've seen $10,000 down payment assistance
Nice.
out there. You can pay anywhere from nothing down all the way up to a conventional loan, which is 20% down. I
Okay.
see a lot of folks getting into FHA loans, which are 3.5%
Mm.
down payment. But first time home buyer, even first generation home buyer, where your parent didn't own a house, or
Wow.
you live in your grandparents' house, or they lived in their parents' house and never
Sure.
purchased anything. There's some benefits out there
I
for
don't think I've ever purchased
first time,
anything.
Look at that.
I
First
don't think that.
generation.
Yeah, but yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So first time home buyer would mean you could have owned in the past. You just haven't owned in the last 3 years.
No, I've never. I don't think I have never owned something. That's okay.
Yeah.
Had never thought about that.
So I'm gonna leave this with you. The beautiful.
Yeah, it is really super cute too.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's at our website. The rendering of what the house will look like when it's finished. And there's right now social media posts. There will probably get some stuff at our blog about just progress photos.
Looks like an Airbnb.
We do not want that to happen.
We do not want
yes.
that to happen, kids.
And how do we keep that from happening? Like
Yeah,
somebody buying this.
Yeah.
So we have what is called an affordability clause in our purchase that will be in our purchase agreement. That means that if you sell the house within a certain amount of years, you pay back some of the. So that house will probably appraise for more than $200,000. Let's say it appraises for $250,000.
Okay.
That $50,000, HousingHub is essentially giving the buyer as equity already in the house.
Wow.
But we will ask you to pay us that back
Sure.
if you sell it within a short period of time. So
oh, okay. Well, that's covered. Yeah. Because I was thinking, I mean, I'm not even going to bring it up. Like there's a gal that for the right price will leave her house like a Swanee weekend, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big money weekend,
Yeah,
and she will go to a hotel, and she will make bank for that weekend, and then back out. I mean, is that a I mean, because that's a cute house.
So we're not going to tell people that they can't do that with their house. By the way, I might have known some older people in my life who did that as well. Went on a vacation and made money.
It's a little pin money, you know?
Yep.
All right. So, but it is a super cute house.
So like I said, you can drive by our signs out in front of the lot. And then we have plans for our next house. We think we own the lot right next door to that house as well.
Cute.
And so we think that the next house is going to be on that lot. That's kind of our strategy, planning house number 3, that it will be a smaller house, smaller footprint, because we want to keep pushing. We want to sell to folks making $50,000, making $40,000.
Yep.
It's tricky to do without federal subsidy, which we're going to try again and get this year in 2026. And so we'll bring that to the table along with the equity we bring, maybe something that's in a mortgage product that will help get that buyer with a lower income into a house, into an affordable monthly payment.
Yeah.
That's the goal, but that the next house will be more on the lines of a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. So that's one of the ways to help things be cheaper is they're smaller. But we know I have folks who I'm working with in coaching that are young, been in the workforce for a couple of years, ready to buy, ready to get started with home ownership. And I want to catch those folks before the bills, before things roll in their life.
They do. It happens.
Just kind of, and I think that the stability of getting into a place to live of their own when they can afford it, which is kind of crazy because home ownership, the average age of home ownership is at 40 now.
Yeah, I get it.
Because of affordability.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we always have family homes, I guess.
Yep.
Is my, because so we're always blessed with that. But
Yep.
New homes. I had saw something, and we're going to go on to you got 2 other things.
A million.
You
things
got. She's got a ton, so just sit back. Is those cluster homes, because Monteagle has an affordable workforce issue, right?
Yep.
And so they're trying to solve that in their master plan.
Yep.
And they've got these courthouse houses that kind of all go in a circle, small footprint in each one, shared
higher density.
That could solve some of those
and so
issues.
that's I think another strategy too. And we have to get comfortable. We're so used to big pieces of land, and that I would rather live in something substandard if I can get 5 acres with it. Comparatively speaking to, say, New York City, I shouldn't use that, to bigger cities, just Nashville or just Murfreesboro.
At this point.
Land is so expensive, and really the value can come in your land. Here it's the other way. The value comes in your house, what structure is on that land. And so being considerate about that. And if to get into home ownership, you need to live on a 0 lot line patio house, shared green space. That means you're going to live here for 5 years. And this in your plan, that you're going to be able to get to the next thing.
It's a stepping stone.
It is, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I do wish we could get a little more comfortable with that. I do understand, though, that part of our affordability solution around here has always been that multiple generations live under one roof. And so that's what we run into as well, is that you've got big families. But could the youngest generation be ready to launch? Now
carve out some of that
and
land
they move, and they move into something, could be smaller, but eventually they will move to a different place or be able to build the house on grandma's land that is then suitable for their family, their size, their lifestyle, whatever.
That's how you get your road named after you, and then you just parcel it all out, and you have your own family compound.
Yep. I hear about those things, as I am now living on somewhat of a family compound, adopting the way. So the other couple of things I wanted to mention, because we've been highlighting them, and they've been in the newspaper too. We have received $75,000 grant via our friends at Mountaintop that came from the Federation of Appalachian Housing Enterprises, FAHE, which is a member organization, regional, very powerful. It's actually money that came from Mackenzie Scott, which is kind of crazy, but that's what happens when you partner together. You attract.
What a novel idea.
And that money is going to be pooled with the seed money we received from the South Cumberland Community Fund this fall of $15,000 to help us launch our pre-apprenticeship program. We're calling it Building Opportunities. And that will launch in 26. We'll be after the new year, you'll hear us start to recruit. We're looking for a cohort of 5 youngish folks, 18 to 24, interested in the construction trades. Haven't really, maybe not quite sure does TCAT work, not quite sure do I want to do construction, been interested, just trying to dovetail into the end of the school year. Can we catch students?
Smart.
And then plan that in the project. So it's a 1 day in the classroom, 3 days on the work site, and then half a day paid, all of it, half a day working on professional development. Nice. So what are your financial goals? What are your housing goals? What are your education goals? Like, let's talk about this and let's make a plan. But the 3 days on the site are either projects with Mountaintop doing their major home repair. So like learn about roof coverings, go put a roof on somebody's house, your neighbor who needs it. And then HousingHub, the house number 3, we're trying to line up those schedules and predict the weather.
Sure.
And so you'll see that coming out. That's
super exciting.
Yeah. Cody, our director of housing development, was the mastermind behind the program and putting it all together. And just, HousingHub wouldn't be doing what it's doing without his brain and passion for trying to make this all work.
People all come into our lives for a reason.
Oh, it's great. And then also, like, who in the nonprofit world gets to launch a pilot program fully funded? Usually it's like, here's a shoestring budget. Yeah. You work for free, and so
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. So that's exciting to be able to say that.
That is blessings.
It is. It's amazing. And there's, we have ideas of how we can sustain this for a couple, like, that it will be ongoing. But it's nice to have a pot of money you can figure things out with. Yep. So we're looking for that magical 5-person cohort that just wants to get in on something new and big and and paid. So and then we announced that we got an Appalachian Regional Commission grant, also in partnership with our friends at Mountaintop. That we're doing.
Martha's a go-getter.
Yeah. I mean, it whenever HousingHub came into, the creative sphere over there, the idea always had this flair of how can we leverage one another's strengths and do something together that's much bigger than, what we could do apart. And, I don't want us to just be the 2 of us together and don't let anybody else come into and play. But because we just know each other well enough and know our strengths, we've been able to, like, would this work together? It does. And so the Appalachian Regional Commission money is capacity building. But what it's allowing us to do is train staff, train board on what they actually need. We're also doing some strategic planning around volunteer recruitment. So that's essential to Mountaintop's mission.
Yep.
We're going to use that as a subsidy to help make housing affordable. Sometimes, throttle up or down the volunteer assistance because the cost changes. And then the last thing is a Grundy County strategic housing plan. That's awesome. The biggest bulk of the money. So in conjunction with the county leadership, and then we'll pull in other folks to have a steering committee. And my goal is, like, I want us to, we know the need.
Yeah, we know the need.
There's some things we don't know about that. We could get a little more particular, like, how many of what type, how much transitional housing do we really need? How many apartment, we don't want 40 high rise, how many do we need? And so that sort of stuff. But then to, like, understand strategies that are out there, strategies that have been used in places like Grundy County that might work here, and get a plan together. Here's the strategy we're using. Now, HousingHub might take part of that strategy and they run with it and do it. But also, it could uncover things that we're not thinking about, how we're using our land.
Seriously.
There's just a lot. What could we leverage in funding? What could we go after together that's our unfair share of the pot of money?
Because the grant, the big money, and remember, you always saying we aren't asking, we don't have a project big enough for the ARC. Like, they want they want big, and they want collaboration.
Yep. And then can we show how that's working? And, you know, with this grant, officially we cannot pull in Franklin and Marion County because it throws off your match.
It does.
To afford it.
Yeah.
But my, hopefully nobody from the ARC is listening, but, you know, my idea is that we're going to, because of the way we live and move around this plateau, we're going to naturally suck in the, you know, the plateau areas here.
Really, Monteagle and Sewanee are the only two redhead stepchildren in that whole thing.
It's like, what, who? Yeah, anyhow. I stop asking who and why and just accept it and move forward. So, and then the more minor things I wanted to mention. One, Monday is an open house at the Littell Parton Center. We've got some door prizes brewing. So I know we've got a Mountain Goat Market gift certificate. Yay. We've got a gift certificate from bike rentals from Wesley at E-Bikes. And I think we'll have a few other fun items, and you don't have to be present to win. You just need to drift through the building somewhere.
We can all drift
between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Monday.
We can drift over there to get a chance at that.
I hear there might be some music. The town of Tracy is going to do some snacks. Yeah, I'm not sure about listen, we got a little sidetracked with Belinda's event on
that
the
was
dangerous
cool.
drug task force on the 8th. But yeah, come by the open house and see how things are going there, how they've changed, how they've blossomed. There's new stuff in there right now.
There's like 12. So. I counted them on the flyer.
Isn't that crazy?
12 business or organization, whatever, in that place.
Yep. All interacting. You know, we, besides commiserate together on our work, we, you know, every other day I'm calling another agency because of a call I've had and trying to help somebody troubleshoot their situation in their life and, you know, what makes the best sense for them. So it's really good synergy there. So that on Monday. And then kind of on the horizon for the community with HousingHub, and sometime in January, February, we're going to have our annual community input event. So we're always good for some community input, but we're going to do a formal event for that. And there'll be other ways to give input if you can't make it physically to the event. But we just want to know, like, how would you rank our programs? Not rank are they good or bad, but like what's important? What's more important for you in what we're doing? What are we not seeing? What are we not paying attention to? And then I'm gonna launch the whole gamut of home ownership classes. It's a 7-week, so late January, early February. Just try to get it in before spring break. That stuff hits. But it's gonna be a once a week longer class.
Okay.
Hour and a half.
All right.
We've been doing 45-minute dip your toe in the water kind of thing. I think we're ready for something bigger.
Right.
And so we're going to go all the way from how do I know if I'm ready to buy a house? Spending plans, what are mortgages, what happened, who's all involved in purchasing a house, who are all the professional folks that I interact with, what does closing look like, and then how does my budget shift after I buy a house? What do I need to take into consideration if I get in trouble with, you know, something happens with my job and I need to make my mortgage payment? So all that. So 7 weeks. There's incentives coming from Citizens Tri-County Bank.
Love them. They're always a good partner with the community.
So, but also childcare provided, and it's free information. It's the stuff that I hear kids say, I wish they taught us this, and wherever it was, which probably you were taught a little. Let's just be honest.
Well, yeah, you're a senior, you don't care.
Yes, you just maybe weren't listening, and a couple of years down the road, you're like, oh,
I should have
listened. So I'm going to stop there. That's a lot.
Is that a lot? It's like, because I hadn't talked to you since when you had that housing summit.
Okay. We can talk about that too.
Yeah, real quick. It was really cool and interesting. I couldn't stay for the whole time, but it was interesting.
Yeah, so we were it's the South Cumberland Community Funds. We passed that event over. They're the conveners and the conversation goer.
They're so good at that.
And so it was really centered around, can the SCCF create a strategic housing fund, and kind of thinking like, then what would we use that for? Thinking about like developers like us, that we need is it a revolving loan fund where we can use that as the capital to build? We sell the house, we pay the fund back, and that just money keeps getting put out in the community, building more and more houses. And so that was discussed. We learned from a community fund that gone down this road. We had a great Kelly Osman Wilson from Nashville, who's been in the housing world for a long time, did the game of Rent. She moderated for us and got us thinking, if you had a magic wand, what would you do? We're like, we don't ever think about that because we're so used to it's too hard, it costs too much, we're too rural, we're too small, we're too poor, and so that was great. So out of that, the SCCF is they're looking at talking to folks about how are we going to build this fund because it's going to be, Senator Bowling said 10 million. We were all like, great, then you'll help us build that.
That's probably we got a good governor coming up.
Well, things will right. Things are going to shift with that. And then the other thing is you're going to start seeing advisory groups for housing popping up in your community.
Nice.
We've got some energy in Tracy City. We've got some energy in Pelham. That these advisory groups they're going to give information to SCCF, but they also are about let's talk about what our community needs.
Right.
Not just what we want. What do we need? What can the market bear? What assets do we have to bring to the table to make whatever it is happen?
Well, what jumped out at me during the time I was there was is it a housing bank? It's like we have properties that we would love to...
Land bank, yep.
Land bank, that's what it is.
Yep.
I was fascinated by that because the county is doing very well, and you can start acquiring, or somebody can start acquiring dilapidated, unsafe properties and then turn them into good things.
HousingHub would love to take a whack at that ball. We would. And I think that comes from both Cody and I worked at Mountaintop, and have been in a lot of places around the county and know that there's nothing better than your neighborhood or your area. Like, we don't have the kind of traditional neighborhood, but there's nothing better in your area than a property that is in disrepair to be repurposed.
Repurposed.
For a workforce household in your community that now someone has that safe place, that healthy place, that next place to land. And we'd love to, it would, like on the development side, talk about saving some money and making things more affordable, building on land that's already been developed on where you've got infrastructure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a little bit, dilapidated, but still, once again, and it just solves so many issues when you have those unsafe places, like that place next to Misty's Market that burned, and it just looks like this place in Palestine that's been bombed, and there's drug dealers going in at all hours, and you're just like, what can you do with that? So I just came to think about that, a land bank, and just kind of come in and repurpose.
The county buys land cheaply, and it's resold still at it. So the land is cheaper, and the development of that land could be
and to cheaper. Good things. All right. Anyway, is that it? I swear to goodness, you so involved in everything. Merry Christmas.
Well, I know. I have said for the momentum has been growing for a while, and you mentioned there's these big projects going on, big things and moving pieces. I find it very exciting, as confusing and frustrating, and I don't know the solution, and it causes me some. But I love being. Seeing our community like this, where things are moving. If you love community development, I feel like this is a place. Don't go to the big city. No, here's where you need to be.
It really is exciting. It took a long time to get here, but so now it's popping. I'm going to ribbon cutting today for Mountain Goat Trail. I wrote that grant in 2005, and we started the Mountain Goat Trail Alliance in 2006.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that season.
And it was and it was from a TVA. It was with a chamber. It was the Monteagle Chamber at that time, and it was a thing about a 5-year. And April Alvarez was in the committee. David Burnett was the chair of it. We wanted to connect pedestrian traffic to downtown. There's lots of different. We needed to overlook because we're at the top of the mountain. You kind of need a public overlook, but whatever. So we April Alvarez goes, why don't we do a bike trail? And I go, we're all like, you silly goose, what are you crazy? And then I was sent to go find funding. And the funding was in the RTP money. And then that little Ian Prunty had already done it over at Sewanee or St. Andrews to Sewanee. And it's like, right? It just all pops. But all that to say, last night was a school board meeting.
Yes. And
they're having to start talking about big things.
Yeah.
And we all need to start talking about it. And people can have disagreements, but it's so exciting to think that we can actually move some pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think we talked about the public discourse and how important that is, and to not think that the reality of discourse is on social media.
Yeah.
The reality of discourse is sitting in the room with someone who might have a differing opinion than you. You know it. You probably do, right?
Yeah.
We're a small town.
Yeah,
but that you can talk about, or even find that thing that's common and important. And I've been in those places too, where it's like, we don't agree on your method or that method, but we all agree we need housing. Okay, great. Well, let's talk about that, which actually becomes one of those, good conversations. And by the way, kudos to Chelsea and having her on and that transitional housing. And it's, in our continuum of housing, transitional housing, like if you want to know one of the big things that keeps people, there's a roadblock for folks in whatever recovery they're in.
And who housing. Knew? Like, you just
don't know. It's not the program, it's housing.
And until you've been in addiction, every family has, by the way. I mean, I have a cousin that's been in 5 times.
Or even if like you're recovering from a partner, a marriage partnership that's, like financially was really traumatizing,
devastating.
And you think, well, I can't buy, it opens that wound back up because
being
it was all
safe.
tied to housing.
And when she was saying that hit me like in the head and just left a welt, because I was like, of course.
I've heard the statistic about how death is more of a reality for folks re-entering society from incarceration if they don't have a place to live. Housing is literally a life. And now the death might be, mental, spiritual, but like housing's a life and death situation, kind of thing. And so like, I'm for life. Let's build more houses.
More houses. All right. Well, Julie's got the magic link to come on here anytime that she wants to talk about anything that she wants to, because she's absolutely amazing and I love her. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
To you and yours. Yes. And it's been a long road. I'm super excited, and we're going to have a great year. We're going to have a great year.
Looking forward to 2026. Yeah.
I am too. And for me, it's 250th celebration of this America's birth. So it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. Me and your dad will celebrate. All right. We're going to take our last break, send off Julie to spread joy and sunshine wherever she goes, and Christmas cheer. And we'll be right back. As always, thanks for watching Morning on the Mountain. I'll see you in a minute.